Picture the scene, a summer morning in Australia. The sun is timidly rising over the horizon, casting golden hues across the sky, and the gentle sound of waves breaks softly along the shore. Somerton Beach, just south of Adelaide, looked like one of those places meant for escaping routine, connecting with nature, and forgetting life's troubles. But on that day, December 1st, 1948, that peaceful image was violently shattered. There, leaning against a low stone wall, lay a man, lifeless, dressed elegantly in a perfectly tailored suit, polished shoes, a pressed shirt, and a neatly knotted tie. Yet one disturbing detail quickly caught the attention of the police. All the labels and tags on his clothing had been carefully removed. There was no wallet, no documents, no letters, no trace of his identity. Even stranger, the man was clean, well-groomed, and showed no signs of struggle or violence. But his posture, one leg bent, his right arm slightly extended, seemed more theatrical than natural, as if someone had deliberately placed him there, or as if he had chosen to die in that exact spot by the sea. During the search, investigators found ordinary items: a train ticket dated recently, some chewing gum, a box of matches, an aluminum comb, cigarettes from a different brand than the box they were in. But the true enigma only emerged during a more thorough search. In a hidden pocket inside the man's trousers, they found a small scrap of paper. On it just two words, Tamám Shud. The phrase in Persian means ended or finished. Immediately, it evoked the idea of a deliberate ending. Had the man taken his own life, leaving behind this poetic message as a kind of personal epitaph? Or had someone else planted it, like a cryptic calling card meant to confuse the police? Authorities soon discovered the phrase came from a classic Persian book, the Rubaiyat by Omar Khayyam, a collection of philosophical poems about the brevity of life and the inevitability of death. The symbolism was undeniable. But why? Why hide such a message? Why dress so meticulously, yet erase all traces of identity? As the investigation unfolded, the man's body was taken to the morgue. The autopsy revealed a full stomach, but the food, a meat pie, contained no detectable poison. Still, the coroner suspected poisoning. The man's pupils were tightly contracted, and his spleen was unusually enlarged, signs that could point to chemical intoxication, yet no tests at the time were able to detect any toxins. The case made national headlines almost immediately. Mysterious man found dead on the beach. No identity, no apparent cause of death. Only a slip of paper with two haunting words, Tamám Shud. But this was only the beginning. Don't go anywhere. The next discovery would take this case into unthinkable territory: a discarded book, a secret code, and a haunting link to a woman who lived nearby. The code and the woman in the shadows. In the days following the discovery at Somerton Beach, police released details to the press, hoping someone would recognize the mysterious man. While many false leads emerged, one clue stood out and completely redirected the investigation. An anonymous man contacted the police, claiming that shortly before the body was discovered, he had found a worn copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam on the back seat of his car, which had been parked in the Glenelg area, not far from Somerton Beach. When detectives examined the book, they were stunned. On the inside of the back cover, indentation suggested someone had written over it under ultraviolet light. The marks revealed a sequence of seemingly random letters. What was this? Random scribbles? Or a code? The message appeared to be a complex cipher, something that couldn't easily be cracked. Investigators immediately raised the possibility that the man was a spy, especially considering the context of the time. It was 1948, and the world was plunging into the Cold War. Australia, closely allied with the U.S. and the U.K., was a strategic point for intelligence operations. The theory that the Somerton Man was a secret agent quickly gained traction. The missing clothing labels, the lack of documents, and the presence of a coded message all supported the idea. Military and professional cryptographers attempted to break the code, but to this day, it remains unsolved. But the book held more secrets. Inside, investigators also found a telephone number. It belonged to a woman named Jessica Thompson, a nurse, who lived just minutes away from where the body had been found. When police visited her, Jessica claimed not to know the man, but reports from investigators suggest that when she was shown the plaster bust of the dead man, she became visibly distressed, nearly fainting. Her reaction raised serious questions. Was she hiding something? Did she share a romantic connection with the man? Or, more darkly, were they both involved in espionage? Jessica also revealed that years earlier, she had given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man she once knew. But that man was never identified, and her link to the Somerton Man remained, murky at best. Meanwhile, forensic analysis reached a standstill. There was still no definitive cause of death, no identity, and no concrete leads. The case was becoming a truly unsolvable mystery, fueled by scattered puzzle pieces, a man with no name, a cryptic phrase, an abandoned book, an unbreakable code, and a woman who seemed to know more than she admitted. But time, they say, is relentless, and sometimes revealing. Decades would pass before a groundbreaking scientific discovery finally gave the Somerton Man a name, and yet, instead of solving the mystery, it would only deepen it further. Stay with us. The conclusion is near and more disturbing than you could ever imagine. DNA reveals a name, and more questions. For over 70 years, the Somerton Man remained a ghostly figure in both Australian and global history. Forensic experts, criminologists, historians, and even pop culture enthusiasts attempted to uncover his identity. The case inspired books, documentaries, films, and countless theories. Some were plausible, others completely wild. But none were definitive. Only in 2022, thanks to the advancement of genetic technology and the persistence of researchers led by Professor Derek Abbott from the University of Adelaide, was an unprecedented revelation made. Using DNA extracted from preserved strands of hair, scientists identified the man, almost certainly, as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer. Born in Melbourne in 1905, Carl Webb had never been listed as a missing person. He had no known connections to espionage. His life, according to records, seemed ordinary, marked mostly by a failed marriage. Why he traveled to Adelaide and how he ended up dead on Somerton Beach remains a complete mystery. The revelation, though groundbreaking, left behind even more questions. Why was Carl Webb in Adelaide without checking into a hotel or leaving any record of his stay? How did he die if there were no signs of violence or detectable poison? And above all, why was the message Tamám Shud hidden in his pocket? To this day, the code found in the Rubaiyat has never been deciphered. Was it a personal message? An anagram? Or, as many still believe, a cipher connected to covert intelligence operations? The link to Jessica Thompson remains equally elusive. Some speculate she may have known Carl, perhaps from Melbourne or during a visit to Adelaide, and for personal or professional reasons chose to conceal that connection, despite the body. Finally being identified, many experts argue that the true mystery of the Somerton Man remains unsolved. He continues to be one of the most iconic cases in the history of crime, not just because of its complexity, but because of the aura of enigma and suspense that still surrounds it. And you, what do you think really happened that fateful night? In 1948, was it suicide, murder, or part of a clandestine operation that never came to light? If this case left you intrigued, don't stop here. Our channel is full of stories like this one, packed with mystery, suspense, and real-life twists that will leave you thinking for days. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and give us a like. Because the next mystery might be even more surprising, and maybe, just maybe, the missing clue you've been looking for.